So in today's society, this is how you have to like move on the grid. Like you have to move in kind of like what I call this 720. I mean, you can no longer just move singly with single numbers anymore. Doubles is going out, relationships and couples. Now it's going into the 720. You notice it's a triple number. First thing I want to point out when you work with like trinary systems, like I was kind of saying on the other 720 episode, I don't know if I really stressed this, but I'll go into it now. But you have to remember that it's like each side on the 720, it's not like NBA where it's like, two teams playing against each other. This is kind of like doubles. Two teams playing against each other and they're essentially playing the same sport, basketball. Now with this 720, it's like you could be playing somebody and you're playing hockey and you're playing somebody or betting somebody that's playing soccer. And that person that's playing soccer is betting someone that's out there somewhere playing uh, NBA somewhere. So it's like like a trinity, or Major League Baseball is a better example. So like when it's going on all at once or whatever. So this is an example of it. See, I like to use betting and money examples with metaphysics because to me it just makes it easier when you start getting into that because our whole reality is based upon this high level gaming network that I'm going to eventually unveil and reveal. And as you unveil and reveal it, they'll begin to come out into society and show you who they are. Like we have the power to actually bring these individuals out, meaning that these older reptilians and these beings that we think are just mythological creatures, they live on this planet in certain aspects on different levels, or what they call Reichs, believe it or not, on this matrix. But it's certain keys. This is when you get into keys and passwords and codes to release these different entities and these different energies that are willing to come out and a lot of times either share their energy or a lot of times aggressively use their energy to dominate, just depending on the type of civilization that you're dealing with. So I'm saying all this for a reason because it's very important. We are seeing a lot of drastic changes, going on politically, especially in the hip hop and music arena, which is about to really all the way merge in with politics. Very important. So this is where the 720 is going to get activated at because you're going to have these musicians and these people that's all deep in the music ready to go flood the political industry. You're seeing that's going on now. They're going to flood the political industry and try to take that over. And that's going to get deep or whatever because this is going to get into the merging of this politics and music, which is something that they've been working on for a minute. That's going to lead us into eventually the final frontier of activating this global network that's going to increase how much money you can make and generate. It's going to increase the way you look at life and not really increase it, but it's going to enhance the way you look at life, meaning that there's going to be a lot of independent artists and type of entrepreneurial pursuits going on after this shift is what I'm calling it takes place, but it's going to take a few years and it's going to be very dangerous because you're going to be dealing with energies again that many of us are used to. So we've been locked into this double thing. And like I said, we're going into the trinary or triplicity is what some people even call it system, which is we're not really used to it. We're trying to move into that system. And whether or not we're going to make it or not is what's going to determine if we're going to go to this level that I'm talking about, where you're interfacing with reptilians, and not only that, where people begin to shapeshift and learn how to shapeshift into certain entities like reptilians, so that they can move through uh, different constellations and different uh, galaxies, is what it is. So essentially, your body is a spacesuit, right? This particular type of body that we have as humans, but the reason why reptilians look like the way they look is because they can move through various different dimensions with that type of a spacesuit. And believe it or not, you can actually see, they never talked about this, David Icke and them, but you can actually construct a reptilian being and move through it as if it was a spacesuit to move into a different type of density or time zone so that you can escape death. And that's what I want to kind of stop at and get at here. See, the eventual goals of 720 before you can get into the higher levels is that you have to do what Houdini did, but on a way deeper level. And Houdini was able to escape death several times. This is what made him such a high level musician or magician, excuse me, is because he was able to escape death several times at different types of scenarios, underwater scenarios where he was locked up underwater and was able to get out within a certain amount of time and swim his way out and escape death several times. And he had ways of going back into his memory and knowing his past lives. And this is how he was able to do this. But believe it or not, he goes into a certain type of spacesuit. That's what they didn't type of tell you is that there are people that can transform this body into what they need it to be to move through the universe. Like you are a UFO. Like, see, they gonna tell you this. The UFOs were designed off the body. So when you see the apparatus and the UFOs out there, people that see them know what I'm talking about. This was designed off of the human body. Pretty interesting. So eventually, what we'll do in the 720 is that once it's successful, we're going to link the grid up with the other grid, the unknown grid that I'm talking about, which is what's going to really shift the economy anyway. Like that's the goal. Like even on this last project that I'm doing, man, I got high level client that I'm working with that's willing. I mean, can you believe this? That's willing. People wouldn't even believe me, like how free minded these artists are. Like Solange is actually willing to go into this experiment and do this experiment. No words, no talking, but various different exchanges contacting me through the dark web. We're going to go through this whole thing without actually having to have a conversation because when you put out words into the atmosphere, it kind of like changes the grid and the elements in the grid. It can cause extra things to happen that don't need to happen in certain scenarios. Like we don't need to experience a lot of stuff that we're experiencing. The reason why we do is because we talk. Imagine meeting someone, you never talk to them, you guys go on a date, you still never talk, you go home, make love, still never talk. And then eventually you start to talk. Imagine what that type of relationship would be versus the mundane type of relationship where it's like you talk, you meet, you know what I'm saying? The whole world is listening. They got illegal bugs now, man, going all over the world. Like you in your house, you think you're in the privacy of your house, you probably get listened to all the way over. Like you may be in Washington, D.C., you may listen to all the way out in California. They got this grid linked up secretly, man, through the like libraries and stuff like that to where the government is spying on people in a way to where you would not believe. You have to study like these different technologies that they have. I mean, the light, their cells, they can spy on you through heat deep stuff. So this is all going into the 720 and help you to understand like this is how you're going to start thinking and moving, man, and eventually believe this or not to survive. Like you're going to have to know all of these all this high level information to move around and survive. It's going to get very deep. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down for now. I just want to kind of add in that, element, man, and know that it's like chess and checkers a lot of times with 720. You might be working with the chess game. Your competitor or the person that you have to interface with may be working with checkers. You working with chess. You got to use what you got. They got to use what they got. That's the 720. You got to figure out how to solve the riddle and the code. Stay vigilant.